The cold faded slowly. Dae-hyun opened his eyes to darkness and the smell of metal. His body felt heavy, like someone had filled his bones with sand. The cryopod hummed around him, a soft vibration that made his teeth ache. He tried to remember where he was, but his mind felt foggy and distant. The pod door hissed open. Warm air rushed in, carrying strange smells he couldn't identify. Dae-hyun pulled himself out, his legs shaking as they touched the floor. The room around him was small and cramped, filled with boxes and containers stacked to the ceiling. A cargo hold. He was on a ship. He looked down at his hands. They were his hands, but something felt wrong. How long had he been asleep? Days? Weeks? The memories wouldn't come. He remembered fire, screaming, running through streets that crumbled behind him. Then nothing. A door opened across the cargo hold. Light spilled in, and Dae-hyun squinted against it. A figure stepped inside. Short and broad, with 4 arms and gray skin that looked like tree bark. Not human. The creature froze when it saw him standing there. "You're awake," the alien said in a voice that sounded like wind through leaves. "You weren't supposed to wake up yet. Get back in the pod. Now." Dae-hyun didn't move. His throat felt dry. "Where am I?" "No time for questions. We're docking at a trade station in 10 minutes. Concorded inspectors will board us." The alien moved closer, her extra arms gesturing frantically. "If they find you, we're all dead. You understand? All of us." "I don't understand anything," Dae-hyun said. "Who are you? Why am I here?" The alien made a sound like grinding stones. Frustration. "My name is Ji-woo. I'm the engineer on this ship. Someone paid us a lot of money to move you across 17 systems without asking questions. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. Someone paid you to smuggle me? Get in the pod." Ji-woo grabbed his arm with 2 of her hands. Her grip was strong. "The inspectors have scanners. If they detect your biosignature, they'll tear this ship apart. Human DNA is illegal to transport. You're not supposed to exist." The word hit him like a punch. Human. "What do you mean I'm not supposed to exist?" Ji-woo pulled him toward the pod. "Humans are extinct. Everyone knows that. Died out 300 years ago, in their own wars. But somehow you're here, and there's a bounty on your head that could buy a solar system. So please, get back in the pod before you get us killed." Dae-hyun's mind reeled. 300 years? Extinct? None of this made sense. But Ji-woo's fear was real. He could see it in the way her hands shook, hear it in her voice. He climbed back into the pod. "Don't make a sound," Ji-woo said. She tapped controls on the pod's exterior. "I'm putting you in minimal power mode. Your biosignature should be almost invisible." Almost. The pod door closed. Darkness wrapped around Dae-hyun again, but this time he stayed conscious. He could hear everything happening outside, muffled and distant. Heavy footsteps echoed through the cargo hold. Multiple beings, moving with military precision. "Engineer Ji-woo," a new voice said, cold and sharp. "We're here for a routine inspection. The Concordat requires all vessels to submit to scanning at trade stations." "Of course, Inspector," Ji-woo said. Her voice sounded calm now, professional. "Everything is in order. Just standard cargo. Machine parts? Food supplies? Nothing interesting. We'll determine what's interesting." Dae-hyun heard the whine of scanners powering up. His heart hammered in his chest. He tried to breathe quietly, tried to make himself smaller inside the pod. "Your manifest shows 15 containers," the inspector said. "I count 16. Silence." Then Ji-woo laughed, a forced sound. "Oh, that one. Personal storage. My own belongings. I'm transferring to a new ship at the next station. Personal belongings require documentation. I have the forms. Let me find them." The scanners grew louder. Dae-hyun felt a tingling sensation across his skin. The scanner beam was passing over his pod. His breath caught in his throat. "Inspector Thalvin," another voice called from across the cargo hold. "We've found something. Unregistered medical supplies in Container 7. The scanning sound stopped. Footsteps moved away from Dae-hyun's hiding spot. "Medical supplies require special permits," Thalvin said. His voice was farther away now. "Captain, you'll need to come down here." More voices joined the conversation, arguing, papers being checked. Dae-hyun let out a slow breath. The scanner hadn't detected him. Not completely. But something was wrong. He could feel heat building inside the pod. The systems were straining. Then he heard it. A quiet beeping, growing faster. An alarm. "What's that sound?" Thalvin asked. Ji-woo's voice came quickly. "Oh, that's just the cooling system. Old ship, old problems. I'll shut it off. It's coming from that container. Your personal storage." "No, it's the wall unit. I'll show you." But the footsteps were coming back. Coming toward the pod. Dae-hyun pressed himself against the back wall, useless as it was. There was nowhere to go. "Open it," Thalvin ordered. "Inspector, I really don't think. Open it now, or we'll cut through it." A long pause. Then Ji-woo's voice, defeated. "Yes, Inspector." Dae-hyun heard her hands working the external controls. The pod was opening. This was it. Whatever happened next would change everything. But then an explosion rocked the ship. Distant but powerful enough to shake the cargo hold. Alarms screamed throughout the vessel. "What was that?" someone shouted. "Hull breach on sea deck." Another voice yelled over a communicator. "All hands to emergency stations." The inspector swore in a language Dae-hyun didn't recognize. "Continue your inspection," Thalvin ordered his team. "I'm going to sea deck. If you find anything suspicious, detain the crew." More footsteps. Running now. The cargo hold fell quieter, but not empty. At least 2 inspectors remained. Dae-hyun waited. Minutes crawled by. The pod's temperature kept rising. Sweat ran down his face. The beeping grew faster, more urgent. Then Ji-woo's voice, barely a whisper through the pod wall. "I'm going to get you out. When I open this, run to the service. Hatch behind the blue containers. Can you hear me?" Dae-hyun tapped twice on the interior wall. "Yes. On my signal. 3, 2, 1. The pod burst open. Dae-hyun stumbled out into chaos. Emergency lights flashed red. 2 inspectors stood by the far wall. Their backs turned as they examined something. Ji-woo pointed frantically toward a gap between containers. Dae-hyun ran. His legs were weak, but they carried him. He squeezed through the gap, found the hatch, pulled it open. Inside was a narrow maintenance tunnel, barely wide enough for his shoulders. "Stop!" A shout behind him. One of the inspectors had seen him. Dae-hyun dove into the tunnel, pulling the hatch closed behind him. He crawled forward in darkness, following the tunnel as it curved and branched. Behind him, he heard voices, angry and confused. But they were getting farther away. He emerged in another room, smaller than the cargo hold. Storage lockers lined the walls. A single window showed the blackness of space and the massive bulk of the trade station they were docked to. But something else caught his attention. A holographic display near the window, showing some kind of news broadcast. And on that display was a face. His face. The image was older, harder, but unmistakably him. Text scrolled beneath it in symbols he somehow understood. "Last son of Earth. Reward. 500 million credits. Dead or alive." Dae-hyun stared at his own face, looking back at him from the hologram. 500 million credits. Dead or alive. But how did they know? He'd been hidden, smuggled, kept secret. Unless he hadn't been secret at all. Unless the entire galaxy had been looking for him, and someone had always known exactly where he was. The ship shuddered as it undocked from the station. Dae-hyun pressed his hand against the cold window and stared out at the stars. 300 years, Ji-woo had said. 300 years since Earth died. But he was alive. And somewhere out there, people knew his name. The ship shook as it entered faster than light travel. Dae-hyun held onto a support beam, his stomach turning inside out. Ji-woo found him an hour later, still sitting in the storage room, staring at nothing. "You need to eat," she said, offering him a metal container. "It's not human food. But it won't kill you. Probably." Dae-hyun took it. The paste inside smelled sweet and wrong, but he ate anyway. His body needed fuel. "Where are we going?" "Haven Station. It's neutral territory. No Concordate control. No military presence. Just criminals and people who ask the right questions for the right price." Ji-woo sat down across from him. "We need answers. Starting with why your face is on every bounty board in 17 systems. I saw the hologram. 500 million credits." Ji-woo made that grinding sound again. Her version of a laugh, maybe. "Try 5 billion. The 500 million is just for information leading to your capture. Actually bringing you in? That's a fortune that could collapse economies." The paste in Dae-hyun's mouth turned to ash. "Why?" "That's what we're going to find out." Haven Station looked like something built from shipwrecks and held together with hope. Dae-hyun watched through the viewing port as they approached. Hundreds of ships clustered around a central structure that seemed to grow in random directions, modules and sections added without any plan or design. "Stay close to me," Ji-woo said. "Don't talk to anyone. Don't look at anyone too long. And whatever happens, don't tell anyone you're human." "How am I supposed to hide that?" Ji-woo handed him a small device. "Put this on your neck. It's a species modifier. Won't change how you look, but it'll mess with the bioscanners. You'll read as Talveri, common species. Nobody cares about them." The device felt cold against Dae-hyun's skin. It hummed softly, then went silent. "Will it work?" "It better. Cost me a month's pay." They docked in a bay that smelled like oil and something burning. The station was loud, crowded with aliens of every shape and size. Dae-hyun had never seen so many different species in one place. Some walked on 2 legs, others on 4 or 6. Some had wings. Others had tentacles. All of them moved with purpose through the narrow corridors. Nobody looked at him twice. Ji-woo led him through a maze of passages until they reached a door marked with symbols he couldn't read. She knocked 3 times, paused, then knocked twice more. The door opened. The alien behind it was tall and thin, with skin like purple silk and eyes that seemed to look in multiple directions at once. "Ji-woo. It's been a long time." "Not long enough, Hyun-soo. I need information." Hyun-soo's eyes focused on Dae-hyun, really looked at him. "You brought a friend. How nice. Come in, before someone sees you standing in my doorway like lost tourists." The room inside was filled with screens and holographic displays. Information flowed across them in dozens of languages. Hyun-soo moved between the displays with practiced ease, his long fingers dancing over controls. "Information isn't free," Hyun-soo said. "You know my prices." Ji-woo placed a credit chip on the desk. "Everything I have. That might buy you a paragraph. Maybe 2 if the information is boring." But Hyun-soo picked up the chip anyway, scanning it. His eyes widened. "The worst kind. Tell me about the bounty. The last son of Earth." Hyun-soo went very still. Then he moved to the door and locked it. When he turned back, his casual manner was gone. "You shouldn't ask about that. Nobody should ask about that." "We're asking," Dae-hyun said. Hyun-soo looked at him again, closer this time. "Ji-woo, tell me you didn't bring him here. Tell me that's not actually. Just tell us what you know," Ji-woo said. Hyun-soo sat down heavily. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he pulled up a holographic display. Images appeared in the air. Paintings, drawings, photographs, all of them showing the same face. Dae-hyun's face. "The undying human," Hyun-soo said quietly. "That's what they call him." The legend goes back 200 years, maybe more. Stories from a dozen different systems, all describing the same human. Same face, same build, same scars on his left arm. He pointed at Daehyun's arm. At the 3 scars Daehyun hadn't even noticed until now. How is that possible? Daehyun asked. 200 years? It's not possible. Humans are dead. Everyone knows this. But the stories keep coming. A human appears during a battle, turns the tide, then vanishes. A human saves a colony from raiders, then disappears before anyone can thank him. A human speaks languages that died with Earth, knows military tactics that predate the Concordat. Hyun-soo pulled up more images. Battle footage, security recordings, eyewitness sketches, all showing Daehyun. But I don't remember any of this, Daehyun said. His hands were shaking. I woke up on that ship with almost no memories. I don't know these places. I don't know these battles. Maybe you don't remember because you weren't supposed to, Hyun-soo said. Look at this. He pulled up technical specifications. This is the cryopod design found at several of these incident sites. Military grade. But the technology predates anything in the current galaxy. The power systems, the medical components, the AI integration, all of it is more advanced than what we have now. Jiwoo leaned forward, studying the display. That's impossible. Technology doesn't go backward. It does if someone made sure it did, Hyun-soo said. The Concordat has been very careful about what technology spreads through the galaxy. Very careful about what gets developed and what gets buried. Daehyun felt dizzy. The room seemed to tilt. Images flashed through his mind. A battlefield at night. Explosions lighting up alien skies. His hands holding weapons he didn't recognize. Voices shouting orders in languages his mouth knew but his mind didn't. Are you okay? Jiwoo caught his arm. I'm seeing things, remembering things. But they don't feel like my memories. Hyun-soo stood up, backing away. This is too dangerous. You need to leave. Both of you. Wait, Daehyun said. Please. I need to know. What do the stories say? What does this undying human want? Nobody knows. He appears, he acts, he leaves. No pattern, no explanation. But here's what's interesting. Hyun-soo pulled up a timeline. Every appearance happens at a critical moment. A turning point. When a small decision could change the fate of thousands. It's like someone is steering history, making small adjustments to keep things on a certain path. Whose path? Jiwoo asked. That's the question that'll get you killed. Hyun-soo began shutting down his displays. The Concordat doesn't want anyone asking it. The bounty isn't about capturing a human. It's about erasing proof that someone has been manipulating galactic history for centuries. An explosion rocked the station. The lights flickered. Alarms began to wail. Hyun-soo swore. They're here. They tracked you. Who? Daehyun asked, but he already knew. Everyone. Hyun-soo ran to a wall panel and pulled out weapons. He tossed one to Jiwoo. The Concordat wants you. The mercenary guilds want you. Every bounty hunter in the sector wants you. You're worth more than most planets. Another explosion. Closer this time. The door burst open. Armed figures poured in, wearing black armor with no markings. Professional. Military. Down! Jiwoo shouted. Daehyun dropped, as energy bolts seared through the air where his head had been. His body moved before his mind caught up. He rolled, grabbed a weapon from the floor, came up, firing. 3 shots, 3 hits. Perfect accuracy. How did he know how to do that? More soldiers came through the door. Daehyun's mind split in 2. One part was terrified, confused, desperate. The other part was calm, calculating, reading the battlefield like a language he'd always known. He moved like water, like shadow. Every shot hit. Every movement was efficient. This way. Hyun-soo opened a hidden panel in the wall. Emergency escape route! Emergency escape route! They ran through narrow passages. Behind them, boots hammered on metal floors. Shouts, in multiple languages. The entire station was mobilizing against them. They emerged in a docking bay. Ji-woo's ship waited at the far end. But between them and safety stood a wall of armored soldiers. At their center was a figure Dae-hyun recognized from instinct rather than memory. Tall, broad, with 4 arms and armor that looked like it had seen 1,000 battles. Seok-jin, Dae-hyun said. Though he didn't know how he knew the name, the soldier smiled. So you do remember me. Good. That'll make this more satisfying. He raised a weapon bigger than Dae-hyun's torso. You've been running for a long time. Dae-hyun. Time to stop. I don't even know what I'm running from. Then let me tell you. Seok-jin's smile widened. You're running from the truth. From what you really are. From what you've done. The weapon powered up with a sound like thunder. And somewhere in Dae-hyun's mind, something else woke up. Something that had been sleeping. A voice that wasn't his own whispered in his thoughts. Defense protocol activated. His body moved without his permission. Everything became slow, clear, precise. He could see the trajectories before the shots were fired. Predict movements before they happened. His hands moved with impossible speed. When the smoke cleared, Seok-jin's soldiers lay unconscious. Dae-hyun stood in the center of them, breathing hard, not understanding what had just happened. Seok-jin was gone. Retreated. What are you? Ji-woo whispered. Dae-hyun looked at his hands. They were steady, calm, even though his heart was racing. I don't know, but I think it's time we found out. The ship jumped to faster than light speed with a lurch that made Dae-hyun's stomach flip. He sat in the cargo hold, staring at his hands. Those same hands had moved like weapons back on Haven Station. Fast, precise, deadly. But they were just hands. His hands. Weren't they? Ji-woo came down from the cockpit, moving carefully like she was approaching a dangerous animal. We need to talk about what happened back there. I don't know what happened. You took down 15 armed soldiers in under a minute. Without getting hit once. That's not normal. That's not even possible for most trained soldiers. Dae-hyun pressed his palms against his eyes. There was a voice. In my head. It said defense protocol activated, and then my body just moved. Like someone else was controlling it. Someone else? Or something else? Ji-woo sat down across from him. When I pulled you out of that cryopod, I scanned it. The technology was strange. There were neural connections, data ports linked directly to the brain. Whatever you were sleeping in, it wasn't just keeping you frozen. It was connected to you. Before Dae-hyun could answer, a hologram flickered to life in the center of the cargo hold. Both of them jumped. The image was unstable, breaking up and reforming. It showed a woman in military uniform, human. She had sharp eyes and short black hair, and she looked tired. If you're seeing this, the woman said, it means you've accessed the emergency protocols. Good. That means you're still alive. And you're starting to remember. She paused. My name is Young-mi. Commander Young-mi, of the Eternal Watch. And if you're watching this, soldier, then you're one of us. Who is that? Dae-hyun couldn't speak. Something about the woman's face felt familiar, important. You're probably confused right now, Young-mi continued. Your memories are fragmented. That's intentional. We designed the system that way. Every time you go into cryo-sleep, certain memories are suppressed. Protected. It keeps our mission secure, even if one of us is captured. The hologram flickered, showing images of Earth. Cities gleaming under blue skies. Forests. And oceans. Then fire. Destruction. Bodies in the streets. Earth is gone, Young-mi said. But you already know that. What you don't know is that we saw it coming. The Concordat feared us. Feared what humanity was becoming. We were too fast, too adaptable, too dangerous to their control. So they made a weapon. A biological agent designed to target human DNA specifically. They called it containment. We called it genocide. Ji Woo made a sound of horror. The Concordat killed Earth? But we had a plan. Youngmi said. Operation Legacy. We couldn't save everyone, but we could save the future. We created the Eternal Watch. Soldiers placed in special cryopods with time dilation technology. You don't just sleep, soldier. You skip through time. Forward. Always forward. And when you wake up, it's because the galaxy needs you. The hologram changed. Now it showed technical diagrams of the cryopod. Numbers and symbols scrolled past too fast to read. You've been awake before, Youngmi said. Multiple times over the centuries. Each time, you complete a mission, then go back to sleep. Your memories are stored, but locked away. This protects you and protects the mission. But now, something has changed. You've been exposed. The Concordat knows you exist. That means it's time for the final phase. Final phase of what? Daehyun asked the empty air. As if answering him, Youngmi said, There's an archive. Hidden in the Ashen Reach, a sector of dead space that nobody visits. Inside that archive is everything. The truth about Earth. The proof of what the Concordat did. Technology we saved. History we preserved. And the key to waking the others. Others. Jiwoo looked at Daehyun. There are more of you? The Eternal Watch is 7 soldiers, Youngmi said. Scattered across time and space. Each of you carries a fragment of an AI system called Genesis. Alone, you're dangerous. Together, you're unstoppable. Together, you can bring humanity back. The hologram began to break up. Youngmi's image flickered. The coordinates to the archive are encrypted in your pod. Follow them. Find the truth. And soldier. She looked directly at where Daehyun sat, as if she could see him across centuries. Make them remember. Make them pay. For Earth. For everyone we lost. The hologram died. Silence filled the cargo hold. An archive in the Ashen Reach, Jiwoo said slowly. That's suicide. That sector is forbidden. Ships that go in don't come out. Then we go in carefully. Daehyun stood up. His hands weren't shaking anymore. I need to know. I need to understand what I am. What I was made to be. And if it's a trap, then I spring it. He looked at Jiwoo. You don't have to come. You've done enough. More than enough. Jiwoo made that grinding laugh again. Too late. I'm in this now. Besides, someone needs to keep you from getting killed. Though maybe that's not as easy as I thought. The journey to the Ashen Reach took 3 days. Long enough for Daehyun to explore the strange new abilities waking up inside him. He could access files in his mind like pulling books from a shelf, military tactics, combat techniques, languages he'd never studied but could somehow speak. And something else. A presence in the back of his thoughts. Watching. Waiting. On the 2nd day, they picked up a transmission. A woman's voice, speaking in broken Concordat standard. This is Bo-Ra of the Kindred Coalition. We've been tracking your ship. We mean you no harm. We want to talk. It's a trap, Jiwoo said immediately. But Daehyun felt that presence in his mind stir. Not dangerous. Important. Let them approach. The ship that docked with theirs was small and fast, built for stealth. The woman who came aboard was something Daehyun had never seen before. Her skin was covered in blue scales that shimmered like oil on water. 3 eyes watched him with careful intelligence. You're real, Bo-Ra said softly. The undying human. We thought you were just a story. Who is we? Jiwoo asked, her weapon ready. The Kindred Coalition. We're rebels. Outcasts. Species that don't fit in the Concordate's perfect order. Bo-Ra moved slowly, hands visible. We've been watching for you, waiting. The prophecies said you would return when the time was right. Prophecies? Daehyun shook his head. I'm not some messiah. I'm just a soldier. You're more than that. You're proof that the Concordate lies, that humanity was murdered, not lost to their own violence. You're the spark that could light a fire across the galaxy. Bo-Ra's eyes gleamed. We want to help you. We want to fight beside you. I don't even know what I'm fighting for yet. Then let us help you find out. The Ashen Reach is dangerous. You'll need allies. 3 days later, they reached the coordinates. The Ashen Reach looked dead. No stars shone here. Just black space and the hulks of ancient ships floating in the void. The archive was built into an asteroid, hidden and forgotten. They landed in a hangar that had been sealed for centuries. The dust on the floor was thick enough to walk on. When they opened the inner doors, lights flickered on one by one, revealing a massive facility stretching into darkness. It's huge, Jiwoo breathed. Daehyun walked forward like he was being pulled by invisible strings. His feet knew where to go. Down corridors lined with holographic displays, past rooms filled with technology and artifacts from Earth. A library of human history, preserved in the dark. And everywhere, ghosts, holographic recordings activated by his presence. Children playing in parks that didn't exist anymore. Scientists giving lectures on discoveries that had been buried. Musicians, artists, teachers, families. All of them dead for 300 years. All of them still alive in this place. This is what they destroyed, Daehyun said. His voice broke. This is what we were. They found the command center deep in the archive. Screens covered the walls, all of them coming to life. As Daehyun approached, data flowed across them. Reports, evidence, recordings of Concordate meetings where they planned Earth's destruction with cold efficiency. They didn't just kill us, Bo-Ra said, reading the screens. They studied us first, learned from us, stole our technology, and claimed they invented it themselves. And then they erased us, Jiwoo added. Made humanity into a warning tale. A species too violent to survive. Daehyun's hands clenched into fists. The presence in his mind grew stronger, clearer. A voice that was his, but also not his. Show them the truth. Wake the others. Finish what we started. 5. Wake the truth. Show them the truth. He turned to Bo-Ra. You said you wanted to fight. We've been ready for years. Good. Because this is just the beginning. He moved to a control panel and pressed his hand against it. The system recognized him, accepted him. Screens changed, showing locations across the galaxy. 7 points of light. 7 soldiers sleeping in the dark. But one of the lights was close. Very close. Just a few 100 meters away. Deeper in the archive. There's another pod here. They ran through the corridors following the signal. It led them to a chamber filled with cryopods. All of them empty except one. Inside, a young man floated in blue liquid. Peaceful. Waiting. Daehyun touched the control panel. Wake up, brother. We have work to do. The pod began its wake cycle. The liquid drained away. The young man's eyes opened, and the first thing he said was, Commander Daehyun, it's about time you found me. The young man pulled himself out of the cryopod with the smooth movements of a trained soldier. He was shorter than Daehyun, younger looking, but his eyes held the same weight, the same exhaustion that came from living too long in short bursts. Tae-yang, Daehyun said. The name came from that hidden part of his mind. Lieutenant Tae-yang, 2nd Squad, Eternal Watch. Good to see you remember something, Commander. Tae-yang stretched, joints popping. Though knowing you, most of your memories are still locked away. They always lock yours the deepest. Why? Because you're the key, the one who can wake all of us. The one who carries the command codes for Genesis. Taeyang looked around the chamber. I was supposed to sleep until you accessed the archive. Emergency protocol. If you made it this far, it meant the mission was moving to its final phase. Jiwoo stepped forward. How much do you remember? About Earth? About what happened? Taeyang's expression darkened. Everything. My pod was different. I'm the memory keeper. What the others forget, I hold on to. He looked at Dae-hyun. You want to know what we were? What we really were? Yes. We were Earth's last defense. The Eternal Watch wasn't just soldiers. We were the best of everything humanity created. Warriors, scientists, engineers, diplomats, 7 of us, each with different skills. Each carrying a piece of Genesis, the AI system that could rebuild human civilization from scratch. Taeyang's voice grew harder. The Concordat knew about us. That's why they struck fast. Killed most of humanity. Before we could respond. But military command got us out. Sent us forward through time with one mission. Survive, adapt, and when the moment was right, strike back. Strike back how? Bora asked. 7 soldiers against an entire galactic government? We're not just soldiers. Taeyang tapped his temple. We're walking databases. Everything humanity knew. Stored in our heads. Technology, history, culture, warfare tactics. And Genesis isn't just an AI. It's a weapon. When all 7 fragments combine, Genesis can do things the Concordat thought impossible. An alarm screamed through the archive. Lights flashed red. They found us, Jiwoo said, running to a console. Concordat fleet just dropped out of faster than light at the system's edge. 20 warships. They're headed straight for us. Of course they are. Taeyang grabbed a weapon from the wall, checking it with practiced ease. The archive has been transmitting a beacon since the moment Dae-hyun activated it, calling for help, calling for the Concordat to come destroy the evidence. You knew this would happen? Dae-hyun felt anger rising in his chest. It's part of the plan, Commander. We need the Concordat to show its hand, to commit forces, to expose itself. Taeyang smiled. But it wasn't friendly. And we need them to see what happens when they try to kill us. We can't fight 20 warships, Jiwoo said. That's suicide. The archive has defenses, Taeyang said. Old, human military systems. Automated weapons that have been sleeping for 3 centuries. All we have to do is wake them up. He led them deeper into the archive, to a chamber Dae-hyun hadn't noticed before. Inside were machines. Weapons. Things that looked like they belonged in nightmares. Sleek, deadly, efficient. War machines, Bora whispered. Human war machines. I thought they were legends. Very real. He moved to a control panel and started entering codes. During the war, before Earth fell, our military developed autonomous combat units. Machines that could think, adapt, kill. The Concordat never saw them. We kept them hidden, saved them for when we'd really need them. The machines began to power up, eyes glowing in the darkness. Hundreds of them. Genesis, Dae-hyun said suddenly. Everything we built was part of the system, Taeyang confirmed. Genesis isn't just artificial intelligence. It's a distributed network designed to survive the end of humanity, scattered across time, across space, across 7 soldiers and countless machines. Kill one piece, and the others adapt. You can't destroy Genesis without destroying every part of it simultaneously. The first explosion rocked the archive. The Concordat fleet had arrived and opened fire. We need to move, Jiwoo said. No, Taeyang said calmly. The next hour was chaos. The war machines poured out of the archive, meeting the Concordat forces in space and on the asteroid's surface. Dae-hyun watched through monitors as the battle unfolded. The human machines moved like dancers, like predators, like nothing the Concordat had ever faced before. Their weapons were precise, their tactics flawless. But there were so many Concordat ships, wave after wave of soldiers pouring into the archive. "We can't hold them," Bora said. Her scales had turned dark with stress. "There are too many. Thime. 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 We don't need to hold them," Taeyang said. "We just need to buy time." "Time for what?" Instead of answering, Taeyang pulled up a star map. 7 points of light glowed on it. The other Eternal Watch soldiers. Genesis has been sending them wake signals since the moment Dae-hyun activated the archive. Most of them won't get here in time to help us. But one will. A new alarm sounded. Different from the others. Higher pitched. "That's a friendly signal," Jiwoo said, looking at her scanner. "A ship just dropped out of faster than light in the system. It's moving really fast. Impossibly fast." On the monitors, a single ship appeared. Small, sleek, and moving like physics didn't apply to it. It cut through the Concordat fleet like they were standing still. Every shot it fired hit perfectly. Every dodge was exactly right. "Who is that?" Dae-hyun asked. "That's Hae-won," Taeyang said with satisfaction. "The engineer. Third member of the Eternal Watch. If you thought our military technology was impressive, wait until you see what she built." R. 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 The ship landed in the archive's hangar with barely a sound. The pilot who emerged was a woman, tall and strong, with oil stains on her uniform, and a smile that said she enjoyed her work too much. "Taeyang, you beautiful disaster," Hae-won said, hugging him. "I got your wake signal." "What did you do this time?" "Started a war," Taeyang said simply. "Good." "I was getting bored." Hae-won turned to Dae-hyun. "Commander, you look confused. Still missing your memories?" "Most of them." "That's fine. I remember enough for both of us." She looked around the archive. "We need to evacuate. This place won't survive what's coming." "What's coming?" Bora asked. Hae-won pulled up a hologram from her wrist device. It showed a massive ship, bigger than anything Dae-hyun had seen before. The Silencer. The Concordat's ultimate weapon. They built it 300 years ago, specifically to destroy human technology. It's been in storage since Earth fell, but they're bringing it out of retirement just for us. "How do you know this?" Jiwoo asked. "Because I've been tracking Concordat communications since I woke up 3 days ago. I'm an engineer. Information is just another thing I build with." Hae-won's smile faded. "The Silencer will be here in 6 hours. When it arrives, it will sterilize this entire sector. Nothing will survive. Then we have 6 hours to download everything from the archive," Taeyang said. "Every file, every piece of technology, every scrap of evidence. We came here for the truth. Let's take it with us." They worked frantically. Hae-won's ship had storage capacity that shouldn't have been possible in something so small. Bo-Ra's coalition ships arrived to help evacuate the archive's contents. And all the while, the battle raged outside. Human war machines holding the line against Concordat forces. But they were losing. Slowly, inevitably, the Concordat pushed forward. In the command center, Dae-hyun stood before the screen showing the 7 points of light. 4 of them were still sleeping, unreachable. But 3 were awake now. Himself, Taeyang, and Hae-won. The voice in his mind spoke again. Clearer now. "Genesis. Insufficient forces," it said. "Concordat strength exceeds projections. Recommendation. Retreat and regroup." "We're not retreating," Dae-hyun said out loud. "Commander?" Taeyang looked at him. "Genesis wants us to run. To save ourselves and fight another day." Dae-hyun looked at his team. "But if we run now, the Concordat wins." They destroy the archive, destroy the proof, and continue their lie. I say, we make a stand. Here. Now. That's suicide, Jiwoo said. Maybe. Or maybe it's the spark. Daehyun turned to Bo-ra. You said your coalition has been waiting for a sign, for proof that humanity existed and was murdered. What if we broadcast everything? Every file in this archive. Send it to every system in the galaxy. Let everyone see the truth. End. Bo-ra's 3 eyes widened. The Concordat would never forgive that. They'd hunt us across the stars. And they're already hunting us. At least this way, we hurt them first. Tae-yang laughed. Now, you sound like the commander I remember. Genesis, prepare a galaxy-wide broadcast. Full archive dump. Everything we have. Warning, Genesis said. This action will expose all Eternal Watch positions, all hidden resources, all remaining assets. Do it anyway. The broadcast began. Petabytes of data streaming out from the archive, carried on every frequency, translated into every known language. The truth about Earth, the proof of genocide, 300 years of lies exposed in one moment. And across the galaxy, people watched. They saw. They knew. The silencer is here, Hae-won said quietly. On the monitors, the massive ship emerged from faster than light. It was black, angular, covered in weapons designed to unmake human technology at the molecular level. And at its helm was a face Daehyun recognized. Seok-jin. Hello again, Daehyun. Seok-jin's voice came through the communications. You've been busy. Started quite the little uprising. But it ends now. The silencer will destroy everything you've built, everything you are. Try it, Daehyun said. The silencer powered up its main weapon, a light that hurt to look at, and Daehyun smiled. Because he could feel it now. Genesis. Fully awake in his mind. Connected to Tae-yang and Hae-won. 3 fragments of 7. But it was enough. Let's show them what humans can do. The silencer's weapon fired. A beam of pure destruction that turned everything it touched into dust. Asteroids, debris, even light itself seemed to die when it touched that terrible power. But the beam never reached the archive. A shield appeared, shimmering and golden. Energy patterns that looked like they were woven from mathematics itself. The destruction beam hit the shield and scattered into harmless light. What is that? Seok-jin's voice came through, confused and angry. Hae-won smiled. That's human engineering. The kind the Concordat thought they'd erased. Inside the archive, Daehyun felt Genesis fully activate. His mind connected to Tae-yang's, to Hae-won's. 3 fragments becoming something greater. Information flowed between them faster than thought. Tactical data, engineering specifications, historical records. They were becoming what the Eternal Watch was always meant to be. The shield won't hold forever, Tae-yang said. His eyes had the distant look of someone seeing multiple screens at once. The silencer was designed to break human technology. It'll adapt. Then we don't give it time to adapt. Daehyun turned to Bo-ra. How many ships does your coalition have in range? 300, maybe more. But they're small. Fighters, scouts, transports. Nothing that can stand against Concordat warships. They don't need to stand against them. They just need to be fast. Daehyun's mind was racing, processing battle scenarios at impossible speed. Genesis was feeding him information, showing him possibilities. I-1. Can you upload new targeting systems to those ships? Already done. Sent the packages while we were talking. Hae-won's fingers danced over her control panel. Basic human military AI. Not smart enough to be dangerous, but smart enough to make every shot count. The silencer fired again. The shield held, but barely. Cracks appeared in the energy field, spreading like ice on glass. We need to evacuate. Jiwoo said. Now. Not yet, Daehyun said. Taeyang, the war machines. Can you control them directly? Through Genesis? Yes. But there aren't enough left. The Concordat has been destroying them. We don't need many. We need one perfect strike. Daehyun closed his eyes. Through Genesis, he could see the battlefield, as if he were everywhere at once. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. The Concordat fleet thought they had the advantage. Numbers. Firepower. The silencer. But they didn't understand what they were fighting. All ships. Daehyun transmitted on every frequency. This is Commander Daehyun of the Eternal Watch. You've seen the truth now. To humanity. Some of you won't care. Some of you will say we deserved it. But some of you know that if they could do this to us, they can do it to anyone. Today, we show them that extinction isn't permanent, that some flames refuse to die. Bora's coalition ships began to move. 300 small vessels against 20 Concordat warships and the silencer. It should have been a massacre. It was. Just not the one Seokjin expected. The coalition ships moved with perfect precision. Not like individuals, but like a single organism. They swarmed the Concordat fleet, dodging return fire with movements that shouldn't have been possible for non-military pilots. Every shot they fired hit critical systems. Engines, weapons, communications arrays. Impossible, Seokjin said. They're just civilians. Rebels with stolen ships. They're more than that now, Daehyun said. Genesis is guiding them, showing them how to fight. Every one of those pilots is temporarily connected to the best tactical AI humanity ever created. They're not fighting you. We're fighting you. The Concordat warships began to fall. Not destroyed, but disabled. Drifting. One by one, they went dark. The silencer remained. It fired again, and this time, the shield shattered. The destruction beam carved through the asteroid, cutting deep into the archive. We're out of time, Haewon said. That next shot will kill us all. Then we go to them, Daehyun said. Haewon, your ship, can it get us inside the silencer? That's a suicide mission. All the best missions are. 5 minutes later, they were moving. Haewon's ship was fast enough to make the Concordat weapons look like they were firing in slow motion. They weaved through energy beams and missiles, through the debris of disabled warships, straight toward the silencer's hull. Their shields are too strong, Jiwoo said, watching the readings. We can't penetrate them. We don't need to penetrate them. Haewon grinned. We just need to make them think we're not a threat. Her fingers moved across the controls, and the ship's signature changed. On the silencer's sensors, they would look like debris. Just another piece of wreckage floating in space. They docked on the silencer's hull using magnetic locks. Taeyang cut through the outer plating with a plasma torch, and they climbed into the guts of the massive ship. Inside, it was like walking through a cathedral built for war. Massive corridors lined with weapons, power conduits thick as trees. Everything designed to destroy human technology. Genesis, find us the fastest route to the command center, Daehyun said. Warning. Genesis replied. Seokjin has activated internal defenses. Security systems are military grade. Probability of success is low. I don't care about probability. I care about possibility. They ran through corridors that seemed to shift and change. The silencer's AI was adapting, trying to trap them. But Genesis was adapting faster. Every door opened just before they reached it. Every defensive turret malfunctioned just before it could fire. Human AI versus Concordat AI. And the Concordat technology was 3 centuries behind. They burst into the command center to find Seokjin waiting. He wasn't surprised. Around him stood 24 elite guards. Weapons ready. I knew you'd come, Seokjin said. You're predictable, Daehyun. You always have been. Every time? Daehyun asked. How many times have we done this? This is our 4th meeting. The previous 3 times, I killed you. Sent you back to cryo-sleep. Let you wake up a few decades later, thinking it was your first time. 1. I've learned to counter. Taeyang raised his weapon, but Daehyun held up a hand. Stop. You're right, Daehyun said. I am predictable. Because I'm not fighting for revenge. I'm not fighting to win. I'm fighting so that someday, someone else can. Pointless philosophy. You're still going to die. Maybe. But not today. Daehyun moved. Faster than he ever had before. Genesis was fully integrated now, and it showed. He moved like water, like wind, like something that existed between seconds. His strikes were perfect. Each one hit exactly where it needed to. But Seok Jin was good, very good. He'd been hunting Eternal Watch soldiers for centuries. He knew their moves, their patterns, their weaknesses. The fight was brutal. Daehyun traded blows with Seokjin while Taeyang and Haiwon held off the guards. The command center became a storm of violence. You can't win, Seokjin said, blocking a strike. Even if you kill me, the Concordat will never stop. They'll hunt every last Eternal Watch soldier. They'll destroy every piece of human technology. Everything you were will be erased. No, Daehyun said. It won't. He thought of the broadcast, the truth spreading across the galaxy. Millions of beings seeing what had really happened to Earth. Some wouldn't care. Some would support the Concordat's decision. But some would question. Some would doubt. Some would resist. Humanity doesn't end with us, Daehyun said. It ends when people stop remembering, stop caring, stop fighting for what's right. He hit Seokjin hard enough to crack the alien's armor. And that day isn't today. Seokjin stumbled back. For the first time, uncertainty crossed his face. What are you? I'm a soldier. I'm a memory. I'm proof that no matter how hard you try, some things refuse to die. Daehyun raised his weapon. I'm human. He didn't kill Seokjin. That wasn't the point. Instead, he moved to the command console and jammed his hand against it. Genesis flooded into the silencer's systems, taking control. What are you doing? Seokjin demanded. Proving a point, Daehyun said. The silencer's weapons powered down. Its engines went silent, and on every screen in the command center, a message appeared in every language known to the galaxy. They tried to hide Earth's last survivor. But the stars already knew my name. And now, so do you. We are the Eternal Watch. We are humanity's memory. We are proof that genocide never truly succeeds. 4 more of us remain, sleeping in the dark. When they wake, we will be 7. When we are 7, we will be unstoppable. The Concordat thought they erased us. They were wrong. We're coming back. Not for revenge, not for war, but for justice, for truth, for every species that lives in fear of being next. Remember our name. Remember what they tried to do. Remember what they failed to destroy. We are human. And we remember everything. Across the galaxy, the message was received. In the core worlds, in the outer rim, on stations and planets and ships between the stars. Everyone saw it. Everyone knew. The revolution had begun. They escaped the silencer as it drifted, powerless. Bora's coalition ships surrounded it, capturing Seokjin and his crew. The Concordat fleet retreated, carrying news of their defeat back to the core worlds. Back on Haewon's ship, Daehyun stood at the window, looking out at the stars. Ji-woo came to stand beside him. What happens now? She asked. Now we find the others. Wake them up. Bring the Eternal Watch back to full strength. And then we give humanity a second chance. A new home. A new beginning. He smiled. The Concordat took our planet, But they can't take our future. That's still ours to build. Taeyang joined them, Haewon beside him. Genesis is tracking the other 4. 2 are relatively close. A few months' travel at most. The other 2 are farther. Years. Maybe. Then we start with the close ones, Daehyun said. One at a time. One soldier at a time. Until we're all awake. The Concordat won't just let this happen, Haewon said. They'll fight harder now. Bring everything they have. Good. Let them come. Let them show the galaxy exactly what they're afraid of. Daehyun turned from the window to face his team. For 300 years, we've been ghosts, legends, myths. It's time we became real. Real. Bora's hologram appeared before them. Commander Daehyun, the coalition wants to meet with you. Dozens of species have reached out. They want to join the fight. Tell them yes. Tell them all yes. Anyone who wants to build something better is welcome. They're asking what to call this movement. This rebellion. Daehyun thought about it. About Earth. About everyone they'd lost. About the future they were fighting for. Tell them we're the legacy fleet. We're carrying forward everything humanity was and everything humanity will be again. We're the proof that extinction isn't final. That hope survives. That some fires burn forever. The hologram faded. Outside the window, more ships were arriving. Coalition vessels. Rebels. Outcasts. People who'd seen the truth and decided to act on it. The Eternal Watch had been alone for so long, scattered through time, fighting a war no one else knew existed. But not anymore. Genesis, Daehyun said. Status report on the remaining Eternal Watch members. 4 remain in stasis. Location data confirmed for all subjects. Wake protocols are ready. Good. Set course for the nearest one. It's time to bring our people home. Second 10. Second 10. As the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, Daehyun allowed himself a moment of hope. Earth was gone. Everyone they'd known was dead. 300 years had passed, and the galaxy had moved on without humanity. But humanity hadn't moved on. Humanity had waited, planned, survived, and now humanity was coming back. Not with war. Not with conquest. But with truth. With justice. With the simple, stubborn refusal to be erased from existence. They'd tried to hide him. Tried to make the last survivor disappear into darkness. But the stars had always known his name. And now, the galaxy would never forget it.